Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be doing an analysis of Ammar's Slark. Honestly, I've been playing it in pubs and it's a ton of fun and somewhat strong. I will admit it does have the weakness where it's not the most incredible laner. Slark definitely has some bad matchups, but against the majority of the safe lane melee hero pool, he does pretty well. Like, Slark's a pretty formidable hero. Essence Shift is simply a pretty good ability at level 1 if you're against a melee hero. And so we're gonna see Ammar playing it in this game here. He feeds his brains off in the laning stage, but I wanna talk about what are the factors that allows him to have a lot of impact even with a bad start. And the reason why this is important is in pubs, if you do pick this, I honestly think most games you will not get off to a good start. If you do, you're gonna have a great game. I really think Slark as an offlaner is fantastic if you get off to a good start. And even if you have a bad game, we're gonna talk about how to, really make sure things play out. All right, before we get into the main part of the video, I do wanna let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game League website. We're gonna teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the Game League website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. The first thing I'll say is, in your pubs, I'm going to relate this to the pro game we have here. In your pubs, try to second phase Slark and give your carry last pick. The reason why I think this is best is offlane Slark does best if the game is going to get to around that 30 to 40 minute mark. Now, we actually just saw Ammar dumpster a game in like 20 minutes against LGD as offlane Slark, so of course that is possible. He was against a double melee lane and he had first blood, so yeah, everything kind of lined up for him there, right? That's like an optimal Slark situation. But what I like about this game is that Quest Esports has wave clear, wave clear, wave clear, huge vision hero, a carry that can take dangerous farm. It's also a hero that can farm ancients, because one of the downsides of Slark as a hero is that he cannot take ancients effectively. You can, but it's really, really slow and definitely not efficient. And so it's really nice to have a carry that can win his lane, so it's most likely Naga against the Broodmother, and that is a favorable lane for Naga, so your carry will not get run over and they'll be able to farm. And on top of that, the carry will be able to take, as I said, the more dangerous farm, partially because they're having a good game, and partially because they've shut down the offlaner, right? They can sit in their lane and allow you to farm your lane. Basically, they can delay the game for you. Your safe laner, if they counterpick, can almost act as the offlaner within the game. And I think to some extent that's how Quest sees it. If they have a favorable safe lane matchup, they can pick offlane Slark and basically say, okay, we're gonna have two carries, but we're gonna have favorable lanes. So we'll be able to greed it out essentially. And then they have the kill combo within their first three heroes, right? The Pango and the Techies can kill people around the map with just them two. Shadow Demon can, honestly, I think the Shadow Demon is mostly just for the mid game. Like if people do decide to fight, it does like so much damage with the W. Shadow Demon W is one of the most ridiculous spells in the game. If you don't know what it does a bunch of things, but most importantly, it amps the damage of whoever you put it on by 35% at max level, which is really crazy. It's just a 35% damage amp straight up. This hero might be somewhat broken if played at the highest level, and I think Quest is kind of showing that. For his starting item build, he goes 3 Tangos, Branches, Stick, and Circlet. Pretty optimal trading build, especially against Undying. I think one thing that Ammar also likes picking Slark into is melee 5s. And I think this makes sense because ranged heroes are the counter to Slark. You might be thinking, oh, but he can pounce onto them, but if you pounce aggressively, you basically are guaranteed to die in the laning stage. It just doesn't work out. And so you want to play against as many melee heroes as possible. And you'll actually see in this first clip here, he ends up getting a kill. Unfortunately, Slark still, it's not like you man up incredibly well even against Undying, but we do see him with the Blood Grenade and the Sticky Bomb man up here. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out perfectly for him as he doesn't get the kill, but at the end of the day, pretty impressive outcome, right? They get a first blood on an Undying, and they get Jug a little bit low, so that was not good for his game, but it is good for Ammar's game, and hopefully Ammar is able to, put that back into Ammar. I just realized this is a pretty funny lane in terms of names, Omar and Ammar. Now the next key in the lane is to number 1, find isolated targets, and the second key is to buy a ton of regen. Notice how his items are, well, his first item that he buys is a salve. If you don't buy salve on Slark, you will never be able to trade. He does this every single game without fail, and the key is to trade as much as you can, right, to all in, and then back off with about 100 to 200 health with your pounce, and then reset. If you pounced in for the kill, fine. Like for instance here, he saw an opportunity on the Undying to get aggressive, and they do nearly take out the Undying. Maybe he could have committed. Did Undying have Fairy Fire? No, so maybe he would have tanked the tower and probably died as a result. So, oh wow, we got the kill on Techies anyway. But yeah, a pretty decent trade once again. Unfortunately here, he didn't have a lot of strength and almost gets right-click down. But this is why you have the salve, right? Because if he doesn't have salve here, all of this trading and all of this aggression would completely be in vain. It would be horrible. He would instantly lose out on all of the next few creep waves, and the game would get really, really hard. Now the next thing he does is he buys a Wraith Band, and this is important because Slark's base armor is not that good, it's 4, and so getting it up towards that 7-8 is really, really nice for a hero that needs to trade very aggressively. So another thing you want to look to do is go on people when they're going for a last hit. I'm actually going to show you a clip here where Ammar makes a mistake, and he kind of just randomly goes on the jug. And the reason why this isn't actually that good is Slark doesn't trade that well unless he's built up Essence Shift. And so we'll see Ammar just kind of walk up to Lau here. It's not really a great trade because number 1, this jug actually has a few more items than him. The jug has actually 500 net worth on him, so just right then and there, it's going to be a little tough. But he actually gets completely destroyed. And so the key, if you're looking to trade effectively against melee heroes, especially ones that can man up reasonably well to you, is to go on them when they're going for a last hit. It's as simple as that, but if you can make that simple adjustment, it goes a super long way. Like you super can outplay people as he dies to decay. You can super outplay people, and it makes a huge adjustment if you just go on them when they're a little bit distracted with the last hit. All right, so now let's move on into the mid game. I will say, guys, if you're having a bad game in Dota, it's very important not to fight. I think a lot of people have this idea that if they're having a bad game and they're playing offlane, or just in general, if they're playing offlane, they have to get aggressive. You don't. In fact, often it's the opposite. If your game is bad, you should do what it takes to recover. You should look to hit later timings. Unless your team is completely feeding, you're gonna get more gold than the enemies running around looking for kills, right? Unless literally they're getting kill, then, you know, it is what it is at that point. But if they're just running around and they get the occasional support kill, you will outfarm them, right? Every single creep wave it's like about 2/3 to about 3/4 of a kill, right? So it's very significant to just simply farm. People don't understand that, and so you'll see Ammar here, he's looking, he's actually paying a lot of attention. You can see his camera movements. He's checking the mid lane, he's really paying attention. But one of the benefits of Slark as a hero, and definitely as an offlaner, is you can take that aggressive farm, and you can take it really aggressively. You can see here, he's hitting a tier 1 tower. In most games, if you're having a really bad game, on most heroes, you can't go up this far. You'd have to be way too afraid in a lot of scenarios because you simply don't have the mobility, the disengage, and the information that Slark gets, right? His ulti tells you if you're under a ward. He then has Pounce, Dark Pact, and his ulti all to disengage. And so you can play really far up. And now with maxed out Q, your Q is now on a 6-second cooldown, and you clear waves like crazy. And this is what's good about Slark. Because of the fact that the hero can inherently take dangerous farm and he can do it alone, he doesn't have to step on the toes of the allied carry. And that is what's good about it. Okay, I really want people to understand that. If there's one thing you take away from this video, it's that. Because Slark can live on his own, because he can play certain areas of the map alone, he can take farm without stepping on the toes of his carry. And that's what people don't get. They think, oh, you know, I can't farm because my offlaner is farming. Maybe they were just farming too close to you. Maybe they were taking all of the safe farm. But Slark doesn't have to do that. Sometimes he'll want to if he's completely counterpicked for some reason. But most of the time, in a game like this where they do not have any Slark counter, literally there is not a single disable that deals with Slark, he can do his thing. Now at this point in the game, honestly, one of the things I love about Slark is how efficiently he farms neutrals. And the reason why I say that is it gets you a ton of levels. Like, I've realized as of late that the most efficient way to get levels in Dota is to do a mix between neutrals and the lane creeps. But most importantly, it's actually neutrals. Neutral camps give you a ton of XP in Dota. I don't know how the split is, but it really seems to be very, very significant. On top of that, if you're allowed to play in the safe lane because your carry is taking Ancients, it's super efficient because you basically push in the lane and then take all of these back camps, and it's so efficient. Like, it feels incredibly good if you can play in your safe lane from minute like 12 to 25. If you can just constantly go back to the safe lane, push it out, kill all the camps, rinse, repeat, you'll carry the games. Right? You'll carry the games, and we see that. He's pushing out bottom. Also note that in his backpack, he has 2 Sentry Awards, and the reason for that is Slark's ultimate, if you guys aren't familiar, it tells you if you are seen by a ward. If you don't know how this works, I'll show you after he kills this camp. You will see this icon here. It grants him movement speed and HP when he is not seen. So this icon will go away if you're under the effect of a ward, right? And then you know there is a ward. And by process of elimination, basically, by looking at the icon and saying, oh, when did it go away? You can actually figure out almost exactly where the ward is. And so you can take this really dangerous farm because he knows when he was walking to the creep wave, they don't see him. He knows when he's walking here, there's no hill ward. You might be like, oh, it turned off. It will turn off when you take damage. So don't assume, oh, they have a ward because I farmed a camp. But basically, look where he is. Is he taking farm away from Naga? No, of course, no, he's not. Of course not. But immediately, look at his gameplay, right? He's got the sentry ward. He actually figures out that there's a ward on this hill, which I'm not exactly sure how, but... Oh, no, okay, yeah, it's because when the Brood backs off, his ulti doesn't turn back on. And once he notices that, he's like, oh, free D ward. The Brood denied it, which was really great from the Brood, but you get the point. And now, after a lot of Midas usage, he goes for Echo Saber, and I love his neutral item. He's got the Pupil's Gift, which is going to give him, it used to be 300 health, but now strength gives you 22 HP per strength instead of 20. So I'm not going to try to do the math. It's still about 300 health. And a pretty significant mana pool. So Pupil's Gift, incredible item on Slark. And he had Ags queued up, but he changed his mind and goes for Diffusal. I will say I don't know exactly why this is, as it seems like a pretty good Ags game. Having the double pounce against Brood and Ember Spirit is really, really great. And on top of that, the Ags just allows you to split push and push out lanes very aggressively because you have such an incredible defensive option in long range pounces and having 2 of them. But he decides to go for Diffusal Blade. It is a little cheaper. Typically when going Ags, what you do is you disassemble the Echo Saber, and so you save 1,000 gold. And when you disassemble the Echo, you unlock the Ogre Axe, and then you turn it into Ags. And now what's really great about Slark going into the mid and late game is the hero functions very similarly to a lot of traditional offlaners. What is the main role? What is the main task of a traditional offlaner? It's to initiate and go in for his team. Now, often it's also to stun, and of course Slark cannot do that unless he has a basher, but you have 2 leashes, you do have 2 disables, and you certainly can frontline because you have your Q, your pounce, right? Your Dark Pact, your pounce, and your Shadow Dance, and your Shard, which is one of the best shards in the game, Depth Shroud, which basically gives you your ulti, but in an AoE for teammates, and it lasts for 3 seconds. It's insanely strong. Very, very strong. Almost broken in my opinion. This shard is, it might be the best one in the game, in my opinion, for how consistently good it is. It's just insane. But yeah, you can see, walking up the hill, knows they don't have a ward because of his ulti, and just leads onto the Willow, purges the stun, double leash onto the Willow, pops the ulti, and takes him out, right? It's a beautiful kill. Also, quickly in terms of talents, he takes the Dark Pact talents. This is going to allow you to farm very efficiently. Moving ahead from there, he's going to continue to go in, pops his ulti, as I said at the end of the Dark Willow kill, and is going to kite out. Typically, when your ulti is on cooldown, you want to kite out a little bit. Optimally, you don't have to pounce away, you just walk away, and you allow yourself to get both of your pounce charges up. Because when you have both of your pounce charges up, you can pounce in and then pounce out. And that is a very valuable resource. But he's going to take the Watcher here, or try to. Accidentally leashes the Brood. But he's giving his team information. This is what I talked about him being, well, fulfilling the role of the traditional offlaner. He's walking up the hill, providing the vision, and allowing his team to come in and do their thing. Let me show you the fight from the perspective of Pango. It's very easy for him because of what Slark does. On top of that, if you guys don't know, Slark gives bonus night vision. A lot of people don't know that. So this hero's vision game is incredible. He's just one of the best vision heroes in the game. So as the fight breaks out, he's not going to use his Rolling Thunder. He waits, gets his Blink Dagger out the courier, and then sees Slark running up the high ground. And now it's really easy for him to have patience and get off a good Rolling Thunder, considering he has so much information, right? Now can drop a nice W and just be very, very disruptive in the fight. Nothing insane, but basically it was easy for him to initiate and get a clean initiation onto the Ember Spirit, forcing out a pretty early Ember BKB. And that's what I love, right? That's what I love. It's easy for your teammates to play the game and go in when they see everything. And same thing for his supports, right? The Shadow Demon knows where the Brute is. Somehow he gets caught anyway, but not really. He gets his spells off at the end of the day. So, right, not bad. It's going to end up going down. So maybe messed up his positioning a tad. But yeah, Ammar, even if he's not directly carrying the game, as I said, he can provide the information and he can also save his teammates, right? His Depth Shroud, the Shard, allows him to save teammates if needed. And they get the root and he takes him out. And you can scale into a carry. The later the game goes, the better your hero gets. You don't fall off like a lot of offlaners would. And that's why this works, right? Yes, it's not the best hero early game. It's a safe laner. It's a safe laner for a reason. But stuff like this is the type of thing I like to make videos on as he's terrorizing them in their fountain. Stuff like this is what I love making videos on because it shows that Dota is this deep game. Dota is a game where people have very traditional and close-minded views, and it hurts me because Dota's way deeper than that. 5 to 10 years from now, people's opinions on roles and the map are going to be so different. And a large reason for that is going to be because of patches, but it's also because people are just going to figure things out and think differently. And I think Ammar is an innovator of Dota, and that's why it's cool to watch this guy and see something like this. And no, this is not some one-time fluke game if you haven't seen the major. This is like his 4th or 5th game of Slark this major, which is offlane, all offlane, which is pretty damn cool, right? They clearly believe it's good. I played it in my pubs, and yeah, it felt good. I think I lost 2 of 3. But I'm learning, it's fine. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.